y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and this is my June TBR game. So it's super early to be filming this. I'm gonna post it at the normal time, but it's technically May 19th right now, which is way early. So we're gonna do things a little bit differently, which I feel like we've done things a little bit differently every single time, so that really means nothing at this point. But I am moving on May 28th, so that's normally when I would film and post this, but we're gonna film it a little bit early because I really need to finish packing the rest of the books. I've left all of my TBR books specifically for this game, and I really need to finish packing. So we're gonna go ahead and play now, and let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, this month. So because I am filming so early and I still have almost a week and a half to read more things, I don't really know what to do here because I haven't finished all of the books. Like, I am pretty positive I'm not going to finish all 15 of them, but I also don't know exactly how many I'm gonna get. So I think I'm gonna go with 2 punishments just because I'm pretty sure there will be at least 2 books that I don't finish, and if there are more, then maybe I'll look into some extra punishments for July. We'll go from there. But I also have a new setup. So if you see here, I have new spinner wheels and I've got like a little overview thing plus my camera. So I got this thing here, you can see the bottom of it here, for my phone. So in order to use it, I needed to not have to use my phone to play the game. So I got these little spinner wheels to add to the game, and I just wrote things on them. So I've got my end spot thing here and my punishment wheel, but my punishment wheel still has 2 blank spots. So if you can think of 2 more punishments, let me know. Alright, so first things first, let's set up the game. Okay, so here's my June game board, and we need to figure out the spots. Oh no, you know what I didn't think about? My random number generator on my phone for which spots they end up on. We'll use my iPad. Okay, so this was really big and kind of hard to place, and the lighting is not super great on the screen, but this is my random number generator. I did limits from 1 to 30 for the spots, and that's where the number will show up. So I hope y'all can see that in this lighting. But we're gonna go ahead and start with the hard prompts. So we'll roll the dice. I am going back to 2 dice this month because 15 was just too many books. So hopefully that does not happen again. Alright, so we need 6 hard spots. Of course we do. Honestly, that doesn't even surprise me. So our first one is going to go on spot 7. And then also spot 8. That gets very small. Oh, we got 8 again. 23. They like the number 8. Okay, 3. 29. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. And 1. Can't actually hit spot 1, so I'm good with that. All right, then we will do our free spots. Okay, so we get 6 of those too, so that's good. So those will go on, I've already got one on 23, spot 4. And 15. 12. 24. 18. And then the last one, 11. Cool. All right, now we'll do our TBR treat. So I have read something like 45-ish books so far this year, and I might hit 50 by the end of the month, but I kind of doubt it. So we're still gonna go with just 3 since we did use 1 earlier. So we're just gonna go with 3 TBR treats this month. So those will go on spot 2. Already have one on 29. Already have one on 12. Already have one on 11. 17 works. Already have one on 24. 27. We don't have one on 27 yet. Cool. Alright, and then our challenge spots. So we need 2 of those. Not bad. Already have one on 23. Already have one on 4. Alright, 21. That'll work. And 14. Okay. So only 2 of those, not too bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and get going. Since I do have both cameras now, I can film both here and on my big camera, so we'll be able to pick books as we're going, which means once I pick a book, I can't change my mind and put it somewhere different later. Alright, so first roll here. A 2, starting off strong. Okay, but it is a TBR treat, so that means I get to buy a book, and I love buying books, so that's exciting. I've bought a lot of books recently, though, so hopefully whenever I choose, I haven't already bought. Poison Study. Actually, I haven't. I really want to read this series, too, so that will be a really good first pick. Okay, so the first pick that I got was a TBR treat, which means I get to buy a book, and I'm going to be buying and trying out Poison Study by, I think, Maria V. Snyder or something along those lines, but I'm really excited about this. I know it's a fantasy, and that's literally all I know. I actually used to have the second book. I found like a really beat up paperback copy at a thrift store, and it looked interesting, and I didn't realize it was a series, and then once I learned that it was a series, I've been telling myself I needed to buy the first one for a long time, and I just haven't done it yet, so now I'm gonna do it, and I am very excited. Alright, so we'll lay our first one down there. We'll put this back. Roll number 2. Alright, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that is a regular TBR picture prompt, so let's see what we end up with here. Something that has a prologue. Okay, that shouldn't be too difficult. Let me see what I can find. Okay, so my next roll was a TBR picture prompt, and the prompt that I got was a book with a prologue. So I chose House of Holo by Crystal Sutherland, and this is a YA fantasy that follows 3 sisters that were basically abducted from a Scottish city street when they were young, and they were returned a month later with no recollection of where they'd been, but their appearances started to change from the day that they got back, and strange things started happening around them. Now they are 17 and older, and one of these sisters goes missing again, and the other 2 are left to find her based on clues that she left. And they discover that they're not the only ones looking for her, and that the world that took them away might be calling them back. I'm super intrigued by this book. It sounds so good. It definitely sounds like very fairy-esque type of thing, which I love books with fairies. So I'm really, really excited about where this book is going to lead. It isn't super long either. And as far as I know, it's a standalone. Don't quote me on that one. But I kind of hope it is, because I could use some easy reads in June. Alright, roll number 3. 6. Alright, we got another TBR picture prompt. A romance. Awesome. My next roll was another TBR Picture Prompt, and that prompt was a romance. So I'm getting all of the easy prompts right now, which is a little bit frightening for the rest of the game, but I chose The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This is a new adult college romance that follows our main characters, Hannah and Garrett. And Hannah is a very studious person, but she has a crush on a boy who's not all that interested in her, and Garrett is a hockey player whose GPA is plummeting. So they make a deal that Hannah will tutor Garrett in school if he will go on a fake date with her to make this guy that she likes jealous. So we've got fake dating, college romance, sports romance, new adult. I'm super into it. I am so excited to read this book. I know that Elle Kennedy is a phenomenal writer and she's written a lot of things, so I can't wait to read all of her books, and this is the one that I'm going to start with. All right, roll number 4. 9. We are not that far from the end, and we hit another TBR Picture Prompt. I'm a little bit impressed that we have missed every single one of these spots. Alright, next one is a 5-star prediction. Okay, so my next roll was another TBR Picture Prompt. We're not getting a whole lot of variety in this game, and honestly, after last month, I am okay with that. So this prompt was to choose a book that is a 5-star prediction. And this one is technically nonfiction, and I don't usually like rate nonfiction books, but it's by my favorite author ever, and I am just so excited to learn about what she's written in this book that I think I'll give it 5 stars just like for myself. And that is the first Outlandish companion book by Diana Gabaldon. This is basically the backstory behind like the first 4 books and the TV show and how she writes and just like a bunch of things. Detailed synopses, commentary, controversy, glossaries, bibliographies, genealogies, TV shows, and other useful information. And it is quite large. It is basically a textbook, and I have never been more excited for a book in my life. So, I will be tackling this monster in June. And you know what? That is so fitting, since when I read the first Outlander book ever, it was last June. It's been exactly a year, and I am diving into the background. Alright, roll number 5. This could be our last roll. Yes, it will be. Alright. So now we have end spot, so we'll take our little spinner and we're just gonna spin it. Oh my goodness. Y'all, I added this choice to the spinner wheel on a whim. I was like, there's no way. There is no way I'm gonna hit that after the game that I played for May. There is no way I'm gonna have to start this game over. Oh my goodness. So far we have 4 books. I will need to choose another book since that one didn't give me a prompt in any way. So technically we have 5 books, and I'll choose the 5th book. I gotta choose a TBR Picture Prompt, but I am shocked. And honestly, I'm also not really that shocked at all. Like, let's be honest, we saw this coming. Okay, well that is what it is. So TBR Picture Prompt for book number 5. A fantasy. At least it is something super easy, super generic, doesn't take a lot of thought. At least I have that. So that was my end spot, and I got the role of start over. So we will be playing a second round of this game. However, since it didn't give me a specific prompt, I had to choose a TBR Picture Prompt, and for that prompt I got fantasy. So I decided to read A Forgery of Roses by Jessica S. Olsen, and I know absolutely nothing about this book other than it is a YA fantasy, and I liked the cover, and I bought it on a whim at Barnes & Noble. And it's not very often that I buy a book without having any idea of anything about it. Like, I hadn't seen it anywhere. I hadn't seen anybody talk about it. I don't know what it's about. It was purely a pretty cover buy. So yeah. We're gonna roll into this one blind, and I'm kind of excited about it. Now we will be starting from the beginning. Oh, this is so sad. Okay, so roll number 6. Okay, at least we're starting off with a big number. We've got 12, and 12 is a free spot, so I can pick any book that I want. Thank you. Okay, so for roll number 6, at least we got a big number, and the roll that I got was a free choice, so I could choose any book I wanted. So I decided to be nice and kind of pick like a shorter book and a rom-com, something that would go kind of quickly. So I chose The Cheat Sheet, and this is by Sarah Adams, and all I really know about this book is that it is set in the sports world. There's a NFL football player and his best friend from childhood, I assume, longtime best friend, but she is actually in love with him, and she accidentally spills that secret to, I guess, a news reporter, TMZ reporter. There's a viral video, and then his publicist decides that they should fake date for some reason. So they're fake dating, and she's in love with him, and he plays football. So, yes. Do I think it will be cheesy? Absolutely. Am I still excited about it? Yeah. All right, roll number 7. 5. Okay, not too bad. And it's another TBR treat. I'll take it. Mistborn. Okay, that's honestly a little scary. I'm excited, but I'm scared. Okay, so the next roll was another TBR treat, which is usually really, really exciting, but honestly, I picked a really intimidating pick, and that is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I actually don't know anything about it other than the fact that it's by Brandon Sanderson. A lot of people have told me to read it, and in fact, a bunch of students have told me to read it. I've tried to read one Brandon Sanderson book, and I don't know if it was the best one to start with, but I tried reading Outlander, and I keep DNFing it. I've never actually finished it, so I'm nervous about another Brandon Sanderson book, but willing to give it a shot, and this gives me permission to go splurge and try it out, so we'll see how it goes. All right, roll number 8. Starting to get a lot of books here. All right, 6. It could be worse. The first hard prompt of the game. I was really hoping we were going to get away without them. All right. A TBR vet. Okay, so something that has been on my TBR for a long time. I definitely have a few of those. Okay, so my next roll was a hard prompt, and I got a TBR vet. So this is a book that has been on my TBR, my physical TBR, for a lot longer than it should have been. So I decided to choose Furyborn. This is by Claire Legrand, and I've had this book on my shelf for at least a year, maybe even 2 years. This is the first book in her Imperium trilogy, and it follows 2 different timelines. We've got Riel, who is a prophesied queen, the Sun Queen, and she has to expose herself as the queen when assassins ambush her best friend, and then she's got to like endure magical trials, 7 elemental magical trials. If she fails, she will be executed unless the trials kill her first. And then something like 1,000 years later, she's like a fairy tale, and we have a new person, Eliana, who's a bounty hunter. And then her mother vanishes. She joins a rebel captain. So there's like a cosmic war, stories intersect, something like that. I think it's fantasy. I'm almost getting slight sci-fi vibes though, but I guess we'll find out together. All right, roll number 9. This could be our last roll. Then again. Okay, TBR Picture Prompt. At least it's not something difficult, I hope. A sequel. That one actually might be a little difficult. Okay, so my next roll was a TBR Picture Prompt, and I got the prompt sequel. So this one is kind of assuming that I finished this book before the end of May. I have started it, so I could. I just was slightly considering DNFing it, but I think I'm going to try to push a little bit more just to make sure and try to finish it because I'm throwing the second book on my June TBR. So the book I chose is The Queen Will Betray You. This is by Sarah Henning, and it is the second book in her The Princess Will Save You duology. I'm reading The Princess Will Save You. It is good, but I'm a little bit bored. But I haven't gone very far. I'm like maybe 50 pages into it, so honestly a lot of books are boring in the first 50 pages, like, let's be honest. So it could still pick up. I do still have high hopes. I really, really love the concept of it. So hopefully I like it enough to read the second book. Alright, there's no way this won't be our last roll. So last roll, I mean, unless I get start over again, in which case we may need to change the rules for this spinner. Picture prompt. All right, we got a lot of picture prompts this month. Friends to lovers. Okay, well, I actually already have like a couple of those on my list here, but I'm sure I have more because it's one of my favorite tropes. Okay, so my last roll, we got another picture prompt, which is great. The game's over. I'm happy there. The prompt that I got was friends to lovers, which is one of my favorite romance tropes. I might be stretching this one a tiny little bit, but I chose Bully by Penelope Douglas, and hear me out. Technically, this is a bully romance. However, they were friends originally, and then they became enemies. And then I assume they become lovers. So it's like a friends to enemies to lovers. So there's still the friends and the lovers somewhere in there. So I'm gonna count it. But basically, this follows our main character, and I don't actually know what her name is because it's not on the back of the book. But she is ruthlessly bullied by her old best friend Tate, and she actually ends up like leaving for a year. I think this takes place in high school. But she ends up like leaving. Yes, through high school. She leaves for a year to avoid him, and then she comes back, but this time she is ready to fight back, and obviously things take a turn from there. I'm super excited about this book. I recognize it's probably going to be dark. I check trigger warnings before you read it, maybe. I don't know. I am intrigued though, so I'm gonna try it, and I will let you know how it goes. Alright, ooh. Dropping things. Okay, so this plus my 2 TBR treat books is everything that I'm going to try to read in June. Even using the 2 die, that was not nearly as bad as May, and I am really excited for a lot of these books, so I think it will be really good. I'm a little bit nervous, but that's okay. It's going to be fine, and I will not be working in June because it's summer, so I will hopefully have more time on my hands. We'll see how it goes. I will let you know. And honestly, that wasn't too bad of a game. But you know what? I forgot to do the punishments again, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay, so we're going to do them now. That's what we're going to do. Our punishment for this game is going to be that I have to roll the end spot 2 more times. But if we hit start over, we're just going to ignore that one and move on. But we're going to choose 2 more books as our punishment. Because yes, 12 books is absolutely doable for me when I've been struggling to read anything for 3 months. This is a great idea. Maybe I should just choose 2 picture prompts because this one could end up on, like, I mean, if it ends up on challenge, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All right, so first one. Free choice. Okay, so I can pick anything I want for this book. Cool. At least it's not that bad of a punishment. Okay, so for my first punishment prompt, I chose Gallant, and this is by B. Schwab. This was my free choice book, and it follows our main character, Olivia, and I think her mom has died, but she's reading a lot of her mother's journals, and she gets a letter that beckons her back to, like, her mom's old house that I think is like a mansion, but when she gets there, nobody knows why she's there, nobody invited her, nobody sent that letter, and things are really weird. That's all I really know. This is a middle grade to young adult fantasy thriller, I'm thinking. That's all I really know. I've seen it marketed as both YA and middle grade, but I do kind of get more middle grade vibes from it, so I think this will be a fun read, and I've never read anything by V.E. Schwab, and I've really wanted to, so this could be a good start. All right, last punishment. We'll just kind of see what happens. Oops. Wow. That was a terrible. So sorry. Okay, picture prompt. I can do one last picture prompt. Has a map. Okay, no problem. Okay, so for my actual last book, I rolled a picture prompt, and that was a book with a map. So technically this is a reread, but I decided to go with The Prison Healer. This is by Lynette Nani, and it follows our main character, Kiva. And basically we've got kind of like a dystopian fantasy thing going on here. It reminds me a lot of like Red Queen-esque type of things, but Kiva is a healer and a prisoner at the prison or whatever, and the rebel queen of this land is brought in, and she is supposed to go through all of these trials, but she's unconscious, so our main character takes her place in these trials that no one has ever survived. There's a cute boy, things aren't what they seem, nobody is who they say they are, and yeah, that's basically it. So this is the Fairy Loot edition, and I love it. I actually have the second one in the Fairy Loot edition too, which is why I want to read this one so I can read the second one. And the third one's coming out, and I'm so sad because the email that I used for Fairy Loot got hacked, and I don't subscribe to Fairy Loot anymore, but I was able to get the second book in this edition because I had gotten the first one when I did subscribe to Fairy Loot, and now I'll never be able to get the third one because that email got hacked, so I didn't get access to the release, but it is what it is. Okay, so that is actually the end of this TBR game. I have 12 books to read in June. I think I can do it. I'm pretty confident in June because it is a summer month. I won't be working. I will have a lot more time on my hands. May was probably not the best month to do a one die kind of game, but you know, we tried, and there's always the chance that I could still finish most of the books. I still have a week and a half. A lot could happen. It probably won't, but a girl can hope. If you've read any of these books and you want to tell me what you thought, let me know in the comments. If you have suggestions for what I should put on this punishment spinner wheel that I promise to remember to use next time I need it, let me know. I've got 2 open spots. I don't know what to put there. So I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.